guys are.
No, I agree.
No, I think, I think the only difference is that people, it may be a benefit to sellers because they might avoid that perception that there's issues with being non-conforming. But that's at the expense of buyers, you know, who need to know that they're entering into a property that is non-conforming. And that's been painted as being a worse deal than it really is in a lot of ways. And that's the unfortunate fallout from politics more than anything else. So, yeah, I don't see that there's anything really to be gained by doing that. In fact, I think it might be unfair to some.
Well, one way we could do this would be to go through the material that was presented to us and see if there are questions or concerns about the recommended changes, and does that sound like a good approach?
Yeah, I think we care to approach.
You want to,
Again, if you could take a couple of the low-hanging fruit that you were clearly acceptable to you and get the list down to
sure.
significant issues shortly, then
Sure.
then we would know how you stand on the first 60 before you get to the final 3.
Let's go for the fruit.
Yes. Michelle, if you see some fruit that you could help the board get to.
It might be, I guess I hadn't cherry-picked any list, but if we can just start at the beginning and go through, there weren't, I would say that the bulk of the comments received were specifically focused on finfish aquaculture, with just a small number of letters, you know, addressing other issues, and some of those other issues addressed were not even items on the list of 63. So if you wanted to just start at the beginning of the list and go through, then, you know, as you go through those, consider any comments received on those.
So we could start at the beginning, and if commissioners have concerns about any.
Yeah.
Far away.
Oh, okay.
Go quick. Number 1.
Number one, Ocean Resources Management Act. Actually, the Quinault Nation did have some comments regarding that, and
So did Amanda Stock.
thank you, and
Yeah.
the stock, yes, so there were some comments, just a slight rewording, which I think staff is amenable to if the board was interested in acknowledging or, you know, accommodating those word changes.
Yeah, I'm okay with the change.
You saw their comments and agree with changes.
It's fun, yeah.
Do you have any more copies of that 620 memo?
Six-
The one that you're looking at with the red bead?
The matrix of 63, no, I'm
Okay.
sorry, we didn't bring any additional copies.
Go on.
I may
Okay.
have it. I'll keep on looking for it.
Okay, so we'll say that number 1 is okay with the Quinault and stock changes. Okay, number 2, yeah, we agreed with that, and I don't think that there were any
And no comments on that.
significant comments on that.
Yeah, they'll stop us if we move too
Okay,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Number 3, regarding shoreline designations, that's the map 18 change. And that is, okay. It should be part of the packet. Okay, so this is the west end, again, regarding the ocean coastal resources management. It should be consistent with that state.
Yeah, it was a good distinction. I don't think there's any disagreement.
Yeah, I guess I should.
Okay, number 4 then, definitions regarding normal appurtenances. just slightly alternative proposal to Ecology's change. I don't think there are any significant comments regarding that.
Yeah, I had a question on the required or recommended change. The new residence not to exceed 250 square feet. That would have been a 15 by 15 shack.
250 cubic yards.
It's a clearing and grading limitation.
Yeah, and we have 250 cubic yards. Is that why was that the thought behind that? So it was.
That, because you're noticing that Ecology's required change says square feet.
Yes. Was
Yeah,
that
I
an
think-
error on their part? Did they?
Yeah,
Fess up?
this comes from another section of the development code, which is specifically measured in cubic yards.
Okay. So,
Okay.
So cubic yards.
yeah, I'm good.
So Ecology's okay with that?
Yeah,
It must have been a mistake.
Must have been.
Yep.
Good catch.
Okay, number 5, again, definitions, revising the definition for shorelines of statewide significance, just adding the additional text. Again, this is going back to that Ocean Resources Management Act, so just being consistent there. Number 6, shoreline designations, specific to areas where the Quinault Nation has their reservation lands, and so we see added text to the end of that sentence, just acknowledging that they've got their own designation of, I think they call it wilderness designation, so we're just saying that it'll default to a natural designation on the upland areas and a priority aquatic designation in the waterward areas.
Okay.
Number 7 then, again, this is Article 6, regarding reasonable economic use variance, clarification for addressing critical areas. You can see the alternative proposal the county put forth was partly just reorganizing and adding some more specificity, kind of giving some better internal links to the rest of the SMP document. I don't believe we had any significant comments on that. Okay. Item number 8. Yeah, basically agreeing with the change that Ecology required, deleting the text because it's been clarified just during that previous item. Okay. Item 9 was actually a duplicate of the one just above, so we didn't propose anything different there. Item 10, regarding dredging in Article 7, Ecology had required that we add the language that you see underlined there, and the county agreed. I don't believe we had any significant comments to that effect, one way or the other. Item 11, regarding boating facilities and residential dock length, and some wording there. You can see the changes that Ecology required and the county agreed. Just to clarify the wording and to change the dock length, some of the exceptions the administrator would consider, and again, no substantial public comments.
There were a lot back in March about that one, though.
Earlier on.
Yeah.
But not this latest round.
So I think it's worthy to note that many of these changes have already been discussed extensively
Right.
by the commissioner, so this is not a rubber stamping process.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, when we say agree, it's already been to you once, and you said yes, agree that, and so we're just reaffirming.
Sure, yeah, absent any pressing public concerns.
That came up during this
Yeah.
latest public comment.
Right, and let's see, so item 12 is regarding aquaculture. We could either leave this for the greater, as sort of part of the finfish aquaculture section, because as you recall, we included the entire text of that section just to show it in its entirety. Prefer that? So we can skip for now, at least postpone perhaps, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Of course, then there's several pages of what's presented as the combined response to those required changes. So we would go to page 15.
So we'll come back to those,
Oh,
right?
oops.
Okay.
Okay, so this would be required change number 16. regarding regulations for non-water oriented commercial use. And Ecology's required change was sort of minimal, they were just clarifying and instead of or. And we actually took those and just did a little bit of formatting change, which is why it appears a little more different than what you've seen from Ecology. But again, I don't believe there were any significant public comments regarding that. Okay, number 17, regarding forest practices and the shoreline environment regulations. So you can see Ecology required inserting language for conditional use approval for that, and we agreed with that. The county agreed with that.
The only difference was the conservancy versus natural. They had
Thank you, yes, they had.
apparently made an error.
Yeah, that was just
And that's an ecology CUP, not a local CUP, right?
well, they're one and the same.
But what I mean, the ecology, so ecology has to approve that CUP,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, so that's just for the.
We do the review, they do the final okay.
Right.
So was that a typo by Ecology?
It seems that they just, yeah, they pulled some additional text that wasn't accurate. This is basically going by WAC requirement, and I think they just had pulled some extra text that didn't really belong there. So it's really just for the natural designation. Okay. Item 18, again regarding aquaculture. So if you prefer, maybe leave that for the full aquaculture discussion. Those all together. So we'll go on to number 19. Actually changes in two locations, Article 4 and Article 8. This is regarding shoreline residential, water-oriented commercial and recreational use in shoreline residential designation. You can see the added text Ecology required, and we proposed to make the change in the use table as well as the text that Ecology had recommended. So it's a little more comprehensive fix to what Ecology had expressed. Item 20, this is regarding the use table in Article 4, just getting the notations there correct for boathouses, accessory to single-family residential uses. You can see that they kind of deleted some and made a correction there, so we formatted slightly different, but basically we are agreeing that indeed the notation needed to change to accurately represent what's in the rest of the code. And that's prohibited in the priority aquatic, and natural designations, and then a administrative conditional use approval in the conservancy, shoreline residential, and high intensity.
Again, with final ecology approval, right?
Administrative conditional use approval is now administrative within DCD.
But they do have
They
to do
review.
the final
Yeah.
review.
They have to say yes to it too.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and so number 21 was again just a duplicate of the one above. Item number 22. This is an exemption regarding residential docks. This is Article 9. You can see that Ecology was requiring a change that deleted a pretty significant amount of text, and the county agrees that that's not applicable, and that we refer simply to the RCW.
Yeah.
Item number 23, again, the topic of reasonable economic use variance in the critical areas. Ecology required striking that language, and the county agrees. It's not.
But that language is elsewhere, right? That other one, right?
Yeah.
In that section that describes how the critical areas interplays with the SMA, right?
Right, it's the difference between a reasonable economic use variance versus a shoreline variance. That's just
Okay.
clarify which process would be followed.